1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back to neutral. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And park. Welcome back to Living with a Classic, and if you're new to my channel, I hope you stick around and consider subscribing. I put out new videos every week on some Jaguar and classic car related content. In today's video, we're going back to basics. I think that's a good thing sometimes. It's good to go back and do some basic things because everyone is not on the same page. Some people might have just gotten their first old Jag a couple weeks ago and they don't know anything about it. They just bought it, think it's a beautiful thing. And they have a million questions, and I want to be able to help those people out. I've seen a few topics recently, both questions actually here on this YouTube channel and some topics on some forums where people having transmission issues about it not going into reverse and not going into drive. And the first thing you have to check is what does your fluid look like and what is your fluid level, because if you're low on fluid, your transmission can do really weird things. Also, if it's overfilled, it can also do some really weird things. So it's very important to have the correct level in any automatic transmission. Now on these old ones with a dipstick, they all basically use the same way of checking your fluid level. However, if you've never done it before, and maybe this is your first car with an old school automatic transmission, and you have no idea when someone replies to you on a forum, well, what does it mean to check a transmission level? So I thought I'd make a video about checking it. Also because on my 1975 XJ6, a daily driver, I was driving it a few days ago and I think that the level felt a little bit low. I know I had a tiny leak that I sorted out by just tightening the bolts on the pan gasket. I think I added enough fluid, but I think it might still be a little bit low. So we're going to check that one. I'll show you just a live thing with how I check the fluid. This dipstick here is from my XJ12 over there. So it's from a GM transmission, a TH400. Over there I have a Borg-Warner transmission. It's a Borg-Warner 66 in that one. But they basically look the same. They have two sides. They have a hot side here and a cold side. We'll have a closer look at this on the bench before we go out to the car. The cold side is always lower down and the hot side is always higher up. Because the fluid, or transmission fluid, which is a kind of oil, it expands with heat like many fluids do. So that's why the level is higher on the hot side than on the cold side. So that's some questions I've seen a lot. And so the basic instructions are, the best thing I think is to, if you are able to drive your car, go for a longer drive. I don't mean you don't have to go for hours, but not 5 minutes. I mean 20-30 minutes, make sure everything is up to operating temperature. Come back on level ground and then you park up the car, leave it idling, and you cycle through the gears. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a little bit, but basically you go through every single gear manually in the transmission. You leave it there for a few seconds to let everything circulate. When you've done that, both down and up, you put it in park, you go out, and you check your level. And then if it's hot, of course, you check it on the hot side. There's a minimum and a maximum. And you make sure that you're somewhere in between there, that you're not too low and not too high. So before we go out, let's have a closer look at this dipstick here so you can see what it looks like. We'll go out to my XJ6, we'll check the level, then see if we have to fill it up, and then we'll come back here and see what we found. So really quickly before we go outside, here are the two sides of a transmission dipstick. As you can see, it says cold on this side, the minimum and maximum. You see that it's pretty low down on the dipstick. On the other side here, it's the hot side. There's the minimum and the maximum. You see it's higher up on the dipstick. Like I mentioned, the fluid does expand. That's why it goes higher up on the dipstick. It's the high side that's important, that it's correct level. The cold side is more that if you just refilled your transmission, that you check that the level is okay. Because if it goes up on the maximum on the cold, you're safe to go for a test drive to warm up the car. Then you can check and add more. I've usually found that if it's on the maximum on the cold side, it will be on about the minimum on the low side on the most transmissions I've serviced, and then you'll have to add a little bit more. So now let's head on over outside and have a look at my 1975 XJ6 and see what the level is. So here it is in practice. I've gone for a 20 to 25 minute drive. Everything is fully warmed up, so I'm ready to check the fluid. I'm in park, I'm on level ground. So I'm gonna put my foot on the brake and I'm gonna cycle through the gears. So felt that engage, and then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Neutral, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Drive, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back up to 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back to drive, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back to neutral, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Reverse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And park. Now I can see that it's idling at the correct level, 750 RPMs. So I'm gonna go out, we'll pull the dipstick now, wipe it off, put it back in, and check what the level is on the hot side. Here's the dipstick right here, so I'm gonna pull it up, wipe it off, put it back in, and we'll check the level. I pulled out the dipstick, then I switched off the engine so you guys can hear me. But right where my finger was right there, that's where the level was. As you can see, it's too low. This is a hot side, there's minimum and maximum. It should be in between there. And the underside is a cold side we talked about before, but that side's not really accurate. That's just a good indication when you start off right away. You want to, maybe just fill off the gearbox and you're going out on drive. Just make sure it's up on max on cold when everything is cold. But it's up there, so I'm gonna add, I think about half a liter, should be fine. Half a quart, so I'll add that now. Start up the engine, let it, cycle through all the gears again. We'll go and check it and let's see what the level is. This is an old Borg Warner gearbox, so it likes the Type F fluids. This is TQF by Castrol. This one works really well in these gearboxes. I've added about half a liter now, so I'm going to restart the engine. I'll let everything just idle for a little bit. I'll cycle through the gears again. We'll go out and check the level and let's see if it's correct now. So unfortunately, the weather got the best of me. It started raining like crazy here, so I had to jump in the car to show you this. But as you can see, the level is just on maximum. It actually moved a little bit on the dipstick, but it was about a couple millimeters below max, so I say that level is perfect. And that was pretty easy, as you saw, and it was low. It was about half a liter low, and that's not good. You need to have the correct level in your transmission. I went for a quick test drive there in the rain. I didn't bring you guys along because it started raining a lot more and it was just really noisy. So you guys wouldn't be able to hear me at all. And now it shifts perfectly. It shifted nicely before, but now it's even smoother. And also before, sometimes you could kind of feel it like a little bit of a thump when it will go down into first when you're pulling up to a stop sign or a red light. But now all that's gone. It's extremely smooth. It's a very nice transmission. So now you see it's very easy to check your transmission dipstick. Refer to your owner's manual if you want to know exactly what fluid you should use. You see on the Borg Warner ones, like I mentioned, it's the Type F fluid. But then on the GM ones, it's Dextron fluid. It's Dextron 2, which you can use Dextron 3, which is better than Dextron 2. But Dextron 2 works as well. That's what they had when they were new. So check your owner's manual. You can also see in the owner's manual, usually it will say how much fluid is between the maximum and the minimum. It's usually somewhere between half a liter or maybe a quarter of a liter. But check your owner's manual because it's not a lot of fluid. It's not like on an engine where it could be a liter and a half between the maximum and the minimum on the engine oil. It's a lot less here on the transmission dipstick. It's also because I think it needs to be more precise. It's very precise to have the correct level, so you get the correct pressure and everything's shifting as it should. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. And if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps out a lot. And until next time, I'm Adam, and this was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.